So I wanted to continue on with the scattered tribes of Israel. Um, I think a lot of people think that, they know a whole lot about, let's say, the 40 years of wandering or of the Israelites from the time Moses and the Israelites left Egypt into the time that, they made it to the Promised Land. Well, not all the Israelites. Maybe it is true that the Israelites from each tribe made it to the Promised Land. Yeah, I would say that's true. But there's Israelites that left with Moses and left Egypt with the rest of the Israelites, but they never made it to the Promised Land either. And it's not recorded um, in the Bible anywhere. So I find that extremely interesting. But there's no doubt that along with the cases of those who died along the way, that there were some that left, that just straight up, they left. Like the scene of the golden calf would be a perfect example. Um, uh, I'll come back to that. A lot of people think that the scattered tribes of Israel all happened like when they fell to Babylon and Nebuchadnezzar, or other times throughout the Bible. They turned their back on our Heavenly Father and all that. But what's not known about, I guess, is like the scene of the golden calf. Now, I could talk several videos for sure on the scene of the golden calf. Moses comes down with the commandments and shatters them. There's two stories there, three if you want to look into the Quran, I guess. But within the Bible itself, in the Old Testament, there's two separate stories about how Moses handled himself then. Okay, he just came down the mountain. He hadn't even given them the information that you shouldn't have any idol images, any false gods to worship. But he got mad at them, started killing people or whatever, right? This would be at the time where the Indians, yeah, I said it, the Indians decided, that's it, man. We're getting away from this crazy guy. The Indian, let's call him, I'm sorry to say, use Indian because it's not there's no such thing as coincidence. Coincidence is not a kosher word. It's not a word our Heavenly Father even recognizes as a legitimate word. There's no such thing as coincidence. So it's really just a lie. Anyway, the Indians, the Native Americans Indians, and the Indians of South America, let's say, and the Indians of India, the Hindus, let's say, they all decided to leave about that same time, folks. And why is that? Oh, because they had taken Egyptian wives, and they had part Israelite, part Egyptian children, and this just wasn't going to really pan out too well with them and Moses. I'm sure by the time he went back up and then came back down with the Ten Commandments, he shattered the commandments the first time and then went back up and came back down. Well, gave some of them enough time to, head east and head west and just get away. Like, I'm sure they were like, hey, to hell with that guy. He's going to kill us we didn't even know what was wrong. We didn't even know it was wrong, and he starts killing us. So, they took their understanding more from Egypt and just bailed. And so, in South America, we have these Aztecs and these Mayans. It drifted up into being, the Native Americans. They'd all had enough of each other, so they all just kept breaking apart and breaking apart. Like, a tree has its different branches, and just, the limb becomes the branch, and the branch becomes the twig, and that's just how they all spread out. The Hindus, the India Indians, that nation was left at the scene of the golden calf, folks, and they took it with them, and so we got the Aztecs and the Mayans. Where would they be today if it wasn't for the Spaniards bringing Christianity with them? It's hard telling. So it's kind of a mixed bag of understanding, but not all tribes left at the same time. Like the Irish, the Celtic. When did they leave? Probably, I would say they're definitely King David's line, actually. Yeah, they're probably King David's line, but not from the line of Solomon. And so when Solomon started his temple building and they maybe disagreed, they're like, we got to make a new start, folks. So, are the Irish probably more Jew than Israelite? They actually, they are. And at this point, I think more of them are Christians than anything. But there's a whole history that's been lost, folks. And, I'm kind of running low on time on this one. I think that'll, for now, wrap it up about the Israelites. I could go much deeper into that, but it really honestly doesn't matter. It's like the sands of the sea, the dust on the wind, the stars in the sky, the people of this earth scattered all over, they have Abraham in them. And so some of us are Ishmaelites, and some of us are Israelites, and some of us are both. And some of us are Jews and Israelites. And there's nothing wrong with that. My personal bloodline, pretty sure I'm German, Irish, Native American. So what tribes would that be? Am I ashamed of that? No, and nobody should be ashamed of it. If we inherit our father's sins, our grandfather's sins, our great-grandfather's sins up to however many generations, folks, we're in that final generation, and it's time to turn the tide. Undo where your ancestors maybe fell short, and receive your own forgiveness, and maybe we could turn the tide backward. If someone in your bloodline can just believe, then why can't we all? Christ came to let us know the truth. His words shall never be erased. And I guess my next couple of videos will probably be addressing my brothers and sisters, the Jews. And I know that I can trace my bloodline back to the lead conductor of King David's orchestra on my mother's side. And my father's side, it's much harder to trace. But we're all one big family, folks. We're all one big family. And we can't hate each other. We need to start loving each other. The tribes of Abraham are everywhere, and pretty close to everyone. I know that there's a lot of talk about Gog and Magog, and there's things I need to bring up along those lines, and that might be future, down the line. But my next videos, I think I'll be talking to the Jews, and then after that I'll probably be talking to the Muslims. But I love you guys.